Good morning. It is Thursday, the 17th of May, 2023. And do not adjust your TV screen, as it were. You haven't stumbled across the Cartoonist Kayfabe or some other such channel. Although you are looking at a couple comics here. But there's a caveat here. No, I'm not doing comic reviews. I guess I am, but there's a reason here. I've been delving into, I've been doing research on writing a book I plan to do upcoming. I've kind of started. At this point, I don't think I can back out. I've just got into boots deep with it on the history of war games, right? And really the idea of that sticks in my head. What was the first war game, right? But on this journey, I found a lot of things that I either didn't know existed or had forgot existed. And these are one of them. These are, there were in the early 90s. Well, these are put out by TSR. If you cannot see that, TSR. Right? So what happens is in the late 80s, well, 1983, 84, I guess, somewhere around there, the sales from D&D kind of crest, right, at TSR. They kind of crest and roll back a bit. There's a lot of different clones, if you will, coming out of D&D and a lot of other role-playing games. And so D&D kind of slacks off in sales. It's not that it's less popular, it's just if you're going to continue to grow a company and make a big company, and they had intentions on being as big a company as they could be. They'd already bought SPI by this point and had those old SPI properties, or acquired SPI, whatever you want to say. They've got it at that point. They've done a lot of different war games and role-playing games. And so in the late 80s, they licensed DC Comics, the Dungeons and Dragons license. The DC Comics puts out those comics which do well. They do well. They do good. So seeing this, TSR is going to wants to put out some more comics. And the CEO of TSR at the time, what was her name? Lorraine, I can't think of her last name. I apologize to everybody. Somebody's probably saying it right now. Anyway, she had inherited the property of Buck Rogers. As we see here, this is a Buck Rogers in the 25th century comic, and this is a Warhawks comic. And TSR was wanting for DC Comics to do them, and DC Comics kind of, put them off. Or however you want to say it, they just said, oh, well, something. And it took too long, and so in the early 90s, in 90 actually, or 89, 90, TSR decided they was going to come up with their own comics. Not the Dungeons and Dragons comics. They had already licensed those along with Spelljammer and whatever offshoot of D&D there was to DC Comics, but they was going to put out their own line of comics. And understandably, DC Comics did not like this, and there was a fight, and so in the midst of it, TSR said, we're not going to call them comics. They're going to be comic modules, right? So I do think that DC quit doing the D&D stuff because of that. And these comics, these were game comics, if you will. They were comic. They had little comic stories, but they really, what do you want to call it? Emphasized gaming and the gaming of the TSR games, right? And but the problem with these is they're neither fish nor fowl, right? You do have a comic story. It's a story that's, they're okay. The comics are okay. It was late 80s, early 90s comics where after, things like, the Batman and the Killing Joke, and the what was the other one? The big the Death in the Family, Batman Death in the Family, and then a little bit later, I believe after this is going to be, you know, Superman, the Death of Superman. So comics are quite hot at this time, and the comics are okay. They're neither great nor terrible, although they would stand up to a lot of stuff being made today. That's not saying stand up to everything. It would stand up to a lot of stuff. But the problem with these are they're neither fish nor fowl. They're neither gaming magazine or comic. They're kind of a mishmash of both, and they really never took off. But we do see them, and some of them have war games in them. And these two absolutely do. You have the Warhawks, which was a time-traveling thing, and you have Battle of Britain. And the games would come in, the game board would be the covers, right? Game board would be the covers, and then you would have the rules right here, Skyhawks. You would have the rules, and you would have the chits and the so on right there. You'd have cutouts of the counters. And other things that TSR would do, they would do things like this. Let's see this one. They have put a Line in the Sand game, which I have, which they put out. They had put in, the design notes. Designer notes are in there, right? Other things that they would do to do with gaming would be something like this here. Or it might be another book. And do stuff to support their, maybe in here, support their role-playing games. Well, doggone it, I might have to get another one out that, Anyway, they would put different character classes in here and so on. But, and here's another one you got. This game is Attacking the Asteroids board game in this Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. And there you got your, there, and then you have your ship-to-ship combat. So, but as someone like me would do, the Battle of Britain game, got a couple of them so we can look at one better. And that would be the map, which is just a functional squares, right? And then the chits, I haven't cut them out yet to do anything with them, but that's what they would be. That's what the map would look like. And it's just, as far as I can tell, both of them are kind of just skirmish games, little skirmish games, which I think's pretty cool, to be honest with you. You know, if this would have came out when I was younger, I would have liked this. The only thing I see terrible is look at the rules. I hardly can read that, right? Because it's just so. But we'll go through the sequence of play. Each player rolls 2 dice to determine the movement order. Players move in the order of the dice, die rolls. Attacks are made after the planes are moved. After all attacks have been taken, go back to step 1. That's the basic sequence. So basically, as far as I can tell, you have some scenarios. That'll tell you, this is much better. I can see it much better. Scenario 1, place 2 Spitfires on the north edge of the map. You know, it's basic, just little skirmish games. But it's kind of cool, man. It's just kind of neat how that is done. And there's the board, and there. I just think that's so neat. And like I said again, with Attacking the Asteroids, another little skirmish game where you're ship to ship. You know, I don't have a second one of this, so I'm not taking it apart because I'm weird like that. That's the problem. If it would have been me, and it would have been 1990, and I would have came across these, I would have wanted to buy 2, one to tear up and one to keep, because obviously comic guys just usually don't tear up their books, and I'm just anal like that to start with. Look, $2.95 in 1990. It's not the cheapest thing, but I would have picked it up in 90 if I would have known it existed. Attacking the Asteroid. See, free enterprise, start point. Got the different. I kind of like that better than I do that map better than I do this kind of plain Jane map, right? It's just it's okay. It's functional. That way you got a hex map. You got the name of the game on it. It's cooler. It's cooler. And there are a couple of these. A lot of them have games, but these may be the only two with war games. But there's a lot of. I bought some more of them. But a lot of them have games, and some of them have card games. You have to cut out the cards and whatnot. But Attacking the Asteroids, a lot easier to read. Wow. All right. Rules, simple rules. You have a few chits, and you have a board, and that's what you got, and that's what you get. That's what you would get with a game like that, and it would again. And sometimes you would get characters for, say, I've seen Secret, Top Secret is the name of it. I've seen some Top Secret characters in one of these. I can't find it now, so it must be in one of the books that did not have a war game in it. But these were pretty cool deals. And it was a way to support the TSR games. But like I said, they never really took off. Now they're fishing their foul. You know, in 1993, Magic the Gathering would burst onto the scene, and then they would try to get into that again, trying to grow this company or trying just to survive at that point, which didn't really. What was TSR's game? Never really did take off, but I thought it would be cool to share with you some of that wargaming history right there that we look over too much. And as we're here, if you would like to, you could go over to Amazon and get Friday Night at Fallujah. It's a war game book by myself, and it's going to cost $6.50. That's going to be less than, when you adjust for inflation, than $2.95. So you go get that. You can. It's enjoyable. You should get it, play it, especially if you like little simple games. This isn't nothing really hard, although it's experimental, so it should be kind of fun. Okay. I'm done with you for the day. Hey, let me know some games hard to find, maybe games we've forgotten about. These aren't old; they're just things that I just never really knew about, I guess. Odd and hard to find games. You know, that's what I do here. And I'm going to do this for a little while because I've bought a few games that I really didn't understand existed. Now that I know they existed, I'm going to pick them up. I've picked a few up, so yeah. We got a few weeks of this, and I'll be doing some other reviews too. But y'all have a great day. Hope you enjoy. Take care. Support me on Amazon if you so choose. Take it easy now. Bye-bye.